This is the introduction into the economy module. We will be starting with the first chapter, economic aggregates. We will be looking into how we will be segregating the chapters and what all we will be covering in Indian economy totally. The first chapter is economic aggregates. Second chapter is inflation and its targeting. Financial markets. Next, money and banking. So after money and banking, we will be going into public finance. Next is external trade. Economic development. So till here it will be like totally conceptual, and from here we will start the static and dynamic issues, starting with agriculture. We will cover both India and Telangana. Next, industry, same. Services sector. Infrastructure. Planning. Human resource development, that is health and education, and poverty, unemployment. So this will be the total syllabus that we will be covering in Indian economy. So we will be starting with the conceptual part, that is economic aggregates, that is nothing but national income calculation, GDP, GNP and all those things. Next, inflation, and we will look into the total concepts of economy. Then we will get into the static and dynamic parts. So in static, we will cover as much static we could cover. Then dynamic parts, you will have to start picking from the dynamic resources while you continue your preparation journey. So let us start with the first chapter, economic aggregates. So a brief introduction into what economy is and what is economic aggregates, we will just see. So what is economy about? It is about exploiting resources and creating goods and services for sale and purchase in the market. So this is what economy is totally about. So while we say economic aggregates, what does it mean? We would want to measure that, how much ever that economy is, whether it is the size, whether it is the growth, or what are other parameters can be measured through few aggregates. So what are such aggregates? Alanti aggregates enti? What are those parameters, or what are those aggregates which could actually measure that economy and economic growth and all that? So this is regarding the economic growth part. So if you should have an idea regarding the economic development also at the same time. So growth is something that is concerned with the size of the economy, how much number by percentage it is increasing, that is growth. So we want to see capital formation, we want to see more jobs, we want to see the economy prosper. Then we want to see those effects trickle down to the public. So ultimately the quality and the lifestyle of the whole public or the economy should be keep moving up. So this is where the development part kicks in. So in economic development chapter, we will be covering how we will measure economic development for that matter and everything. So this is regarding the economic growth. So what is the most common economic aggregate that we actually come across in various resources, be it standard textbooks, be it any material, news, everywhere? It is GDP. So what is GDP? Gross Domestic Product. So what is gross domestic product? It is basically a product. So what does it mean? It is a product of two things. What is it? Quantity into price. So basically that is product. So for all the goods, we'll take the quantity and we'll multiply it with the price. That is what gives the product. So what kind of product is it? It is a domestic product. What does it mean? It is pertaining to a territory. So if there is a country or economy with territory, it is concerning with this whole territory, what are all the goods and services produced, or what are all the quantity produced, at what price they are sold. In this territory it is concerned with. So gross. So what is this thing? Net. So what is the difference between gross and net? We will see. So this is a gross domestic product. It means it gives the gross domestic within the territory product, how many quantities of goods and services are being produced into, for how much price they are sold. That is GDP. So how do you define GDP now? It is the total prices of all final goods and services produced within a territory in a specified time. So if you say what is GDP, say GDP of our country is some X or some few $million. So how do you say it is only for a specified time? You can say GDP for this year is this much, or GDP for this many years is this much. So it is only a specified time, and what within a territory. That is what we have seen here in the domestic. So this is what it says. Then what is it talking about? It's the total prices of all final goods and services produced within a territory in a specified time. So these three are key things, and it is the prices ultimately. So ultimately we are actually calculating the total cost of the goods and services that are being produced in the whole economy or whole territory or a country. So when we talk about territory, so within that territory, say suppose in Indian economy itself, this is Indian economy. So there will be Indians and there will be foreigners also. So foreigners will be working in our territory and producing goods and services, and they will be sold, and they will be that they will have that product also. It means GDP includes the income made by foreigners in our territory. So that is what GDP is about. So if you want to have only the income made by Indians within India and also the Indians abroad, this is total abroad. So in abroad also Indians settle elsewhere and they also produce final goods and services and they make a product out of it, that is income. So this plus this, it means what are we calculating? We are only calculating the product made by the nationals of our country. This is called gross national product. This is GNP. So how do you define GNP then? It is the total prices of all final goods and services produced by one particular nationals in a specified time. Even GNP also you calculate for 1 year or you calculate for a specified time. So this is GNP. So how many we have completed? Aggregates 1, 2. So let's keep moving forward to study more aggregates, more economic aggregates. So we have seen gross and net. So what is the basic difference between gross and net is that net is equal to gross minus depreciation. This is the equation basically. So wherever you are calculating the net of anything, say suppose you get a salary example. So you get a gross salary, but there will be a net salary. After what? After all the deductions that you need to have to pay, like taxes, whatever the compulsory payments that you need to pay. So all those things will be removed. Then you will get the gross. In depreciation, generally, if you take salary example, then in depreciation it is taxes, direct taxes. But when we talk about the whole economy, so what are we essentially talking about is that net is gross minus depreciation means here it is the wear and tear of capital machinery in an economy. So that is depreciation. So what is the wear and tear of capital machinery in an economy? How do we understand this? I'll tell with an example. Say suppose I want to produce few goods. What are those goods? Like say suppose steel. So I'll get the raw materials for the steel. Then I'll process them. Then I'll get steel. So in this process, I use various other huge machinery which help me produce this steel and other machinery. Even these goods will have other small machinery which produces other small tools or goods. So this process where this machinery is used to produce another major good which is used as a raw material to produce another product. So this machinery will be called capital machinery. If you want me to tell with an example, say suppose I want to produce bearings. So I would get the raw materials, everything, but I need machinery that will produce the bearings. So that machinery is called capital machinery, because using that machinery, I am producing a product or good that is again used as a raw material to produce some other or diverse number of goods. Steel you take. I manufacture steel from the ore. Then that steel is used in hundreds of ways to produce thousands of materials. So the machinery used to produce the steel is called capital machinery. So the wear and tear that occurs in this capital machinery ante ee machinery lo steel produce cheyadaniki use chesina machinery lo maintenance ki use chesinadi aa machines ni, then aa machines lo problems vastayi. That machines will have wear and tear. It means you will have to put spares to that machine again. But thing is that those spares are manufactured by this machine itself. So the same spares you are using it for the same machine. So it is seen as a depreciation or loss. So this machine produces spares. The same spares are used to maintain the machine, or few years after this total machine is replaced with new one. So that will also come into the depreciation, because it is the additional capital or additional cost that is going towards producing new primary goods or capital goods. The machinery that produces capital goods is capital machinery. What are capital goods? Capital goods are the ones which are used as raw materials to produce diverse number of products in the market. That is capital machinery, and that capital machinery will have wear and tear ante maintenance. Machinery lo problems vastayi, danni repair cheyadaniki use chese spares. That is calculated as depreciation, and when that depreciation is removed from the gross, you will get the net. Means if it is NDP, if it is NDP, then it is GDP minus depreciation. So that is how you arrive at net domestic product. This is net domestic product. So what is net? Net means gross minus depreciation. That after the depreciation is removed, it is called net. When the depreciation is not removed, it is called gross. So the same thing you do for NNP. Its NNP is equal to GNP minus depreciation. This is what? Net national product. So we have covered two more, that is NDP and NNP. So there is one more concept that is called these prices that you calculate in GDP, that the prices that we are talking about, there are two kinds of such prices. Simple. One is factor cost. The second one is market price. It means all the economic aggregates, you can whether take the prices either at factor cost or at market price or at both. You can calculate it at any way. So what is that? We'll see. Factor cost. Prices at the factor cost means it is the prices that is cost of production. How much cost it took for the firm to produce the product. So when the product is leaving the factory gate, the prices are collected here. That prices are called factor cost prices. Then these goods then enter into the market. Then they come into the retail market, that is in the shops. In the shops, again these prices are captured. That is called market price. But essentially, what is the difference between these two? What is added or what is subtracted is that market prices is equal to factor cost plus indirect taxes minus subsidies. That is any subsidy that is being provided by the government of India. So market price will include the indirect taxes, that is retail market. At the factory gate, the taxes are not collected in the prices. That is factor cost price. After it comes into the market, you capture the prices in the retail market in the shops, that is market price. So what is difference is that indirect taxes are added. And if government provides any subsidies, if it is fertilizers or if it is any food product on which government is providing subsidies, those subsidies will be removed. Then we will arrive at the market price of the product. It means that GDP can be calculated both at factor cost and also at market price. Same for NDP, same for GNP, same for NNP. So that NNP which you collect at the factor cost is technically called the national income. This is the concept of national income. The chapter is titled Economic Aggregates because we only have to learn those aggregates, then we will have to arrive at this particular aggregate which is called national income. So what is national income? It is nothing but the net national product at factor cost, not market price. When at the factor cost at the factory gate, the price is collected, that GDP is converted into NNP. How do you convert GDP into NNP? First GDP is converted into GNP. Then GNP is converted into NNP. That same cost, if you take at factor cost prices, that is nothing but national income of the country. So this is the national income. It means national income is one of the such economic aggregate. It is technically nothing but NNP at factor cost. This is the concept behind national income. So we have come into national income. So what is it essentially calculating? It is calculating the total income of all Indian nationals. That is our economy. That is why we are talking Indian. All Indian nationals in a specified time. So there we are talking it as product. That is the money that is spent by the people to buy the whole goods and services. It is one method. When you look at it from income perspective. So when you calculate the prices at factor cost, what would be the cost that is incurred upon the production of such goods or services? It will depend on what? The factor cost prices on the factors of production. What are the 4 factors of production? There are 4 factors of production. They are land, labor, capital, that is money. Capital means finance or money. And the 4th one is entrepreneurship. It is something that is that makes this whole thing enterprising. So that is entrepreneurship about. How do you enterprise your solution? How do you make it big? How do you make it reach large number of the people? So that is where you create the value for your good or value for your service. So these are the 4 factors of the production. So for you to, for example, you want to open a firm and produce some good. What do you need? You need a place. Then you need labor. You need capital to give salaries and procure raw materials, get the machinery required and everything, technology. Then enterprising. You need somebody who is enterprising, who can make this whole concept into enterprising. That is, which gives solution to problem, which creates some value in the market. So that is entrepreneurship about. So there is a cost for each of these factors of production that is incurred by the person who is investing. Those are called the costs of production. These are factors of production. So what is the cost incurred on those such factors? First factor is what? Land. So if you get a land, what is it that you pay? It is rent. So even if you buy that land, it is calculated as rent because it is the cost that is incurred on that factor of production, that is rent. Labor, what is that? It is wage or wages that you pay. Then third one is what? Capital. So what is the cost incurred on the capital? When banks give you money, what do they charge? Interest. And what is the cost of production of that factor of production? Entrepreneurship, enterprising. It is that profit or loss that incurs on this whole concept that is bore by that entrepreneur. That is profit or loss. These are the costs of production that are incurred on these particular factors of production. These are constant things and these are the costs incurred. So this is what decides the factor cost prices. If the cost of production goes up, the factor cost goes up and market price also goes up. So that is what happens. So the factor cost prices are essentially the costs of production incurred upon the person who is running the business. So then here what we are talking about the total income of all Indian nationals in a specified time. We are calling it as income. Why do you call it as income? Because it is because of the same concept. The costs of production that are incurred upon the person who is investing, he is paying it to someone. He is paying it to the individuals in the market in the form of rent. So what is rent? If you get it, it is income. What are wages and salaries? It is income. If you get interest, it is income. And if you get profit or loss, it is income. So this income is what is being mentioned in here, the total income of all Indian nationals in a specified time. So we are only targeting the all income made by Indian nationals all over the country, all over the world actually, abroad also, within India plus abroad also. So here what we do when we take GNP, in GNP what we are doing is from GDP we are removing the income made by foreigners in India, income of foreigners in India. Then we are adding the income made by Indians abroad. So this income made by Indians abroad minus income of foreigners in India is called net factor income from abroad. This is what differentiates GDP and GNP technically. So GNP is GDP minus or GDP plus net factor income from abroad. So what is net factor income from abroad? It is the income made by Indians from abroad minus it is the income made by foreigners within India. That is what gives you the national product. That is the income made by total Indian nationals all over the world. That is what is this national income about. So when this national income is divided by the total population of the country, that is India, it gives per capita income. It is the income made by each individual in the country. So how do you arrive at that? Total income divided by total population. So total income made by the Indian nationals is national income divided by the total population of the country gives the per capita income of our country. So this is where national income becomes a very crucial concept, and per capita income is one of the major factors in the calculation of economic developments in Human Development Index. So based on this per capita income, countries are segregated into least developed, developing and most developed countries. Means if there is a per capita income of 50,000 US dollars, it means every person in that country is earning 50,000 US dollars per year. That is what per capita income is. So it gives the standard of economy, and it also gives an insights into how the development has got penetrated into economy. So that is per capita income for you. That is arrived at through national income only. Then per capita income is over. So next is disposable income. Disposable income means personal income minus direct taxes. So what is personal income? Personal income means national income plus net transfer payments. Net transfer payments means the transfer payments means the payments that is made by the government like one way without creating any value, means it is for like old age pension. It is the support or welfare measures that government needs to take. So all those transfer payments then are added to national income, that gives personal income. From that personal income you remove the direct taxes, that gives the disposable income. So how is even disposable income arrived at? It is national income. So what is disposable income? Disposable income is that amount or income in the hands of the people which is free to be spent in the market or in the economy. So that is why direct taxes are removed. Direct taxes is an obligation. You will have to pay. That is why those direct taxes are removed from the personal income to arrive at the direct income. But for the whole economy, when we talk, it is national income plus net transfer payments, that is personal income. From the direct taxes, when they are removed, it is the total disposable income. So this disposable income gives an idea into how much money is being ready to be spent in the market. It provides an idea into how much money is going to be coming into the market, how much demand is going to be increased, how much accordingly the supply, and how much the inflation may kick in and everything. That is the subsequent concept, that is inflation. So this is that disposable income which gives an idea into how much money is ready to be spent in the economy. So if all that money is spent, it will lead to the increase in demand and price rise and subsequently inflation. So we'll get into inflation and the concept of inflation subsequently. For that, this is very essential, disposable income concept. So till here is the total concept of national income. So what are all the things that we have actually covered? GDP, next GNP, NDP, NNP, then NNP at factor cost is nothing but national income. Next, from national income we have come to personal income. Next, per capita income from national income. From personal income we come to disposable income. Till here if you read, then these economic aggregates are over. These are the basic economic aggregates, means these are the ones used to measure the activity of economy, used to measure the changes that happen or the dynamic things that keep happening in the economy. If you want the size of economy, you will get to know these aggregates. If you want to see how much an economy has grown, you see the difference of GDP between 2 years, that is the base year and the current year. Then you will get to know how much the growth has actually occurred. Then there will come the inflation. Inflation will negate this development and everything, because the prices are inflated artificially, or because of the demand the prices will keep increasing. That prices are nothing but part of this product, that is in the quantity into price. So the prices keep rising. The prices are nothing but the part of this product, that is quantity into price in here. So if only prices keep inflating without actually creating real value or quantity in the economy, GDP will still show higher. A growth is only like a bubble. It is only artificial. So inflation will come to actually challenge this whole concept of economic growth and everything, and how these things are phased and how these things are balanced. We'll see in the next chapter, inflation. Till here are the concepts of national income. Next, we will be looking into the measurement of national income. So we have seen what national income is and everything. So GDP, GNP, all are kind of national income only, but technically it is NNP at factor cost. So we would like to measure that national income. So we are already seen few concepts actually already behind. Based on that, we will actually see what are all different methods. One method is you are calculating the total incomes here. Here you are calculating the incomes. That is nothing but income method only. If you calculate how much people are spending out of their pockets to consume or spend and purchase goods and services, that gives expenditure method. So these are two methods. We will see there is a little concept in here. After covering that concept, we will get to know all the types of methods and we will be able to calculate all of them together also. This is the measurement of national income concept. So one side we have individuals, or we call it the market. Then on this side we have firms or the companies that produce various goods and services. We are talking about both goods and services. So goods means that is essentially that is manufactured or produced using some raw materials. Services are something that doesn't involve goods. They are services. Both are added, both combined or both are comprised. So firms produce both goods and services. So what essentially happens is you take an imaginary line in between here. So these guys fall both on supply side and also demand side. Both of them, both firms and companies and individuals and everybody will be on both supply sides and demand side. Upper side we will take as supply side, lower side we will take as demand side. So what we will do is, we will see what happens in the supply side actually. Supply side em jarugutado chuddam. So I want to open a firm. So what I will do is, I will incur a cost or I will have to invest in what? Factors of production. We have seen. What are those factors of production? Land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. So there will be a cost associated with the same. So for investing in these factors of production, there is a cost that is incurred on this. That is nothing but the cost of production. What are those? Rent, wage, interest and profit or loss. So this is in cost of production incurred on the investor. But it is nothing but income to the market or individuals. This is on the supply side. So when we get onto the demand side, what will happen is firms and companies produce various goods and services. They produce various goods and services that are being sold in the market to the individuals. So this is, here you capture the total goods and services. What you are essentially doing is, you are taking the product or output of all the goods and services from here. Then in return, what are these guys doing? What are they getting from the market? It is the expenditure. It is the expenditure incurred by these individuals in the market that is getting back to the firms. So this is this little concept actually. So what essentially happens in the GDP is that anywhere in here in between, if you calculate, you will get the GDP or the national income. That is the concept. So if you calculate it here along this green line, you get incomes of all the individuals, and that is called income method. First measurement of national income, that is through income method. So what do you do in income method? You essentially calculate the incomes made by the individuals or the markets that is given by firms. So firms will pay that income in exchange for what? Investment of factors of production. So those are the factors of production. These are the costs of production. It is nothing but income of individuals in the market. And the firms that invest in these factors of production produce goods and services. So if you calculate the total cost of these goods and services along this orange yellow line, you will get product or output method. That is second method of measurement of national income. Then if you calculate the expenditure, the spending amount of all the people from markets to the firms, then it is expenditure method. It is nothing but CIGN. It means consumption expenditure, investment expenditure, government expenditure and net exports. It is nothing but expenditure method. That is third method of measuring national income. So there are three methods of measuring national income, and this is the whole concept behind the same. So in this concept, you touch anywhere, you will get the GDP. That is, you will get the national income with more or less the same thing. But here we are only calculating incomes. Here you are only calculating the product or output. Here you are calculating the expenditure. And here if you take, it is factor cost. Here if you take, it is market price. So this is that whole concept of measurement of national income, and these are the three methods of measurement of national income. So let us just look into a brief as to three methods. The first one is expenditure method. Hope I am visible. So what is added? C plus I plus G plus N, that is consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure plus government expenditure plus net exports. What is consumption expenditure? It is the spending. You go out and buy a phone, that is consumption expenditure. You go out and buy a laptop, it is consumption expenditure. You buy toothpaste, toothbrush, everything is consumption expenditure. Next, investment expenditure. It is the investments that are being coming into the country. That is also seen as income or expenditure that comes from, that is paid by others, that is investment. Next, government expenditure. Government spends out of its pocket for like welfare schemes, for giving salaries and everything. So that is government expenditure. It will also add to here expenditure method. Next, net exports. It is exports minus imports. If it is positive, it will add to here. This is nothing but the total demand also in the economy, that we will see in inflation chapter, but this is expenditure method. The second one is product or output method. So what do you do in product or output method? You calculate the total quantity into the prices. It means if there are n number of products, then Q1 P1 plus Q2 P2 plus Q3 P3 plus Q4 P4. So you take it for all the goods and services, then multiply it with their subsequent prices, consequent prices, then it gives the product or output method. Third one is income method. It is nothing but rent plus wage plus interest plus profit or loss. Here, as we see here, it is that. So expenditure method, I will just write again with this ink. Expenditure method is C plus I plus G plus N, that is consumption expenditure plus investment expenditure plus government expenditure plus net exports. In product method, it is the total quantity of the product into prices of the product. In income method, you calculate these incomes. So these are the measurements of national income. If you understand this concept, the measurement of national income is over. And if there is any question regarding anything in this concept, you will be able to address. So try to understand this whole concept, and if you have any doubts, you keep referring to those in our doubt clearing sessions and in our interactive sessions. So try to follow all these concepts and keep your preparation in an organized way. Even if there is a small doubt, you try to correlate with other concepts. That will happen eventually, but clearing off and keeping these concepts clear is the fundamental for Indian economy. Even if you study Telangana economy tomorrow, if you don't know these concepts, you will not be able to understand what's happening around. So if you understand the concept, it will act as a base or the foundation that helps you in the static and dynamic parts that we have seen in the other parts of the syllabus. So this is the concept behind measurement of national income. These are the three methods of measuring national income. So with this, we cover the conceptual part of the first chapter in like group 1 syllabus, that is in main syllabus that what we have given. At the same time, we also cover the conceptual part, that is economic aggregates, and the chapter that is very very crucial for prelims. In the same chapter in the mains, there is structure and growth of our trends in Indian economy and the sectoral trends in the national income of the country. So these are static and dynamic parts that we'll be looking in further, but it is related to the same. If you take the GDP figures, you take the national income figures for the few past years and you make a small analysis out of it, you create your opinions. If the GDP is falling, why? 1, 2, 3. If it is growing, why? 1, 2, 3. If there are other problems, inflation is growing, why? 1, 2, 3. So you try to cover all that aspects in this manner. You make 3 points in each of those aspects, then this whole topic will be completed. But this concept will act as the basis or the foundation for the whole preparation or covering the whole chapter and addressing any question that comes in that manner. ఏ క్వశ్చన్ ఇచ్చినా కూడా దాన్ని అర్థం చేసుకొని దాన్ని అడ్రస్ చేయగలగాలి అంటే కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థం కావాలి. సో కాన్సెప్ట్ అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి ట్రై చేయండి ఫస్ట్ నుంచి. సో అందుకే వీ హ్యావ్ స్టార్టెడ్ ద చాప్టర్ విత్ ద నేమ్ ఎకనామిక్ అగ్రిగేట్స్ రాదర్ దాన్ విత్ ఎ వెరీ ట్రెడిషనల్ నేమ్ ఆర్ దట్ ఈస్ గివెన్ ఇన్ ద సిలబస్, దట్ ఈస్ national income concept and measurements. Not like that. National income is one such economic aggregate. There will be questions on GDP, there will be questions on this concept in the prelims. So it's not like it's not mentioned in the syllabus. These are the basics, these are the concepts that are very very crucial and essential. So they needs to be covered very very exhaustively. So this is it with the first chapter of our economy module, that is economic aggregates. Thank you guys. See you soon with the second chapter, and signing off for now, Bharat Bhushan, Rallapalli.